Okay. So this was kind of, I know we all came up with different conflicts, but I think most of them looked something like this, right? Where there was a rework loop, where not having things mature plus an aggressive timeline caused there to be more work, caused things to be more late, right? And then there was also, the schedule pressure was causing kind of high work in process and lots of bad multitasking. And one of the common themes to both of these loops is that fixed schedule actually is a main driver, and it's not really drawn up there. But having that fixed schedule makes you go after certain drawings that are immature. There may be other drawings that weren't currently scheduled for this month that are mature that you could have done instead, right? So that schedule pressure articulated through a fixed schedule of thou shalt do these in these particular order, right, is actually one of the big drivers, which may be relevant to this activity. So what we want to do is first to take this and to convert it into a vicious cycle, like we just did with being socially awkward. Yes, conflict cloud. To take the vicious cycle and convert it into a conflict cloud, we need to first identify what are the decisions or policies in this cloud. I mean, in this vicious cycle, right? So which one of these are decisions? Because those are going to be the points that we attack, and they'll be in our conflict cloud. So first, identify which ones you think are the decisions, and then once you've identified those as a group, you want to go back and you want to put them into a conflict cloud. And the way I do it is take whatever you think is a policy or decision, put it right here, right? And you can say, we're making this decision every day at work to achieve what goal, right? And then you can say, by doing this, we're compromising what other goal that the system should have, which is throwing off the bad effect. So usually by doing this, right, this is going to throw off a bad effect, which is this, right? But we're doing this to achieve this, which is another worthy goal of the system, right? So take what you think is the policy or action driving the vicious cycle, and then figure out what goal does it, why do we have it, what goal does it hit, and then what are we compromising by doing it? And then you can say, what is the opposite? Like what policy would we take to best achieve this goal? Right? So in some ways, these will probably end up being opposites, right? This would be one policy or action which compromises this goal, and this would be another policy or action which achieves this goal, but probably compromises this goal. And once you've done that, you can say, okay, well, what is the common objective that both of these goals have? And that's how you fill in this.
Sure, we can.
Okay, great.
As you suggested, we kind of began with that box up in the upper right quadrant there. We felt that the step in the vicious cycle that we felt had the most potential for decision making, whatever it was. How did you put it? Something that was optional or?
Right. It was something we can change, something we control. It was an action or policy.
We decided that starting the drawings as soon as possible or on schedule was that. So we can basically put that in that box in that upper right corner.
Okay.
For us, the conflict or the opposite of that would be to delay some drawings or to not begin them all as soon as possible. The need then back on this one, the reason that we begin our drawings all as soon as possible is because the perception or the belief is that we have to get everything done as quickly as possible. And so everything needs to sort of be in our queue for activity, and so that's our assumption, is we need to be on time.
Yeah.
The need for delaying, though, is that we need to avoid rework. We need to have a solid design.
Yeah.
And those are both needs in the organization that come back to the common, which is that we need to meet our timeline and stay within budget.
Great. Yeah, that's really good. We have a video I want to show too, and we're kind of out of time, so instead of getting another group, I'll just kind of share what we put up as the answer. So these are kind of the decisions or policies, right? You decide to have high work in process, and that's a decision you make. You give that work to people, right? And you also decide to start drawings, right? There's not one single right answer. There's many right answers, and often what we'll find is you can draw many conflicts, but a lot of times there's a common element across the major conflicts for one organization, so you can simplify it down to one. Like you may do one only focused on rework, right? You may do one only focused on scheduling, right? And when you start, when you delay. And a lot of times you can condense it into just one. And there's no single right answer. But usually, even if you articulate it in different ways, even if you have slightly different clouds, you'll end up getting to the same solution as you try to fix different clouds, or like different conflicts. So what we have, it's not necessarily the right one, is one decision we have is we're going to start everything as soon as possible, right? Which really means managing to the fixed dates. We have a fixed schedule. We know if we don't stick to this original schedule, the program's going to be late. So we need to stick to that fixed schedule. This is the same as saying start ASAP. The alternative would be we could have a flexible schedule, right? Where we would use different things to set priorities, and we would limit the amount of work in process that we end up passing to the floor to not overload our resources. And that could be done dynamically based on how mature things are, right? Now, doing this, the reason we want to do this is because we want to drive accountability in the organization to project an aggressive schedule. The reason we do this is because we want to protect the productivity of our resources, right? And the amount of effort we're going to expend in the project, right? And they both are directed towards the goal of achieving the project on budget and schedule. So this is essentially in one way or another, it's what I heard every group articulate. Now, we're not going to say how we fix it today, but the way you fix it is you can't do totally this or totally this, because you have to be sure you can achieve both these goals. That's a criteria for any good solution, is that you protect the productivity of your resources and you protect the project schedule, because those are both legitimate needs of the system, right? Right now we're focusing on this one by driving accountability, and we're probably also using accountability to drive this. So I'm holding you accountable to your time commitments too, but it doesn't work. Because schedule's king, schedule ends up winning. If productivity was king, schedule would probably end up getting pushed out.